our session on financial planning, and this is the agenda. Firstly, we would be setting up a context around this theme of the session today, that is financial planning. Then we will be understanding about the why part of the financial planning, addressing the what part of the same, and then we would be understanding how to start with the financial planning. And at the end, we would be having some food for thought, not for women only, but for everybody, for all the people present in this particular webinar, and to have some kind of an introspection. So starting with the context setting, as we all know that, the times have changed. Times have changed largely in last 30 years, as I have seen, and I have been through that change, so I can say that. But let me tell you that this change has not come easily and isn't come so fast as well. It has taken its own time. It has taken certain sacrifices. It has taken certain guts to come out of the stereotypical roles and to do something and to put more efforts, what had been required. Now, to begin with, let's look at, certain statistics. Like out of the total population in India, the female population is 48.41%. But out of that percentage of women women in India, only 20% of women are financially literate. Out of all the population of urban women in India, 23.8% of women are participating in the workforce. And out of that, there only 51% are doing some activity on the investing side. Now, it's a good news, as well as there is a room for improvement as well. Because out of this 51% of the women are investing in the lower risk investment products, that is saving banks, saving accounts, and FDs. While 15% are investing in mutual fund, and single digit number 7% are investing only, I would say, in stocks. Right, so there is quite a room for the improvement, and definitely here I'm not talking, or the session is not to portray a picture of competition between any genders, but I would rather say that we are our own biggest competitor. So we have to see from we are at a certain level and how higher we can go from that particular level. Now, in order to rise, in order to, lift ourselves up, we need to do some kind of an introspection. Now, here, what I would be talking about is not merely our issues, but we can say there are certain things which addresses the society at large. Like, to begin with, this mindset. Now, it has not been our own issue, that is the female issue, that we have been carrying certain mindset, because it's the societal mindset that impacts our mindset, isn't it? And now from that kind of the mindset, the myths are being carried further. Now, combining this mindset and the myth, we ourselves have created certain challenges for us, which otherwise are not that difficult for us to achieve. While in this entire process, what we have undermined, the areas where we have undermined ourselves is the positive attributes. We know those are our positive attributes, but we haven't been able to connect it with this area of personal finance. So let's take for an example, what we generally traditionally till date, most of the women believe that our salary is not primary salary in family. We are not the providers, we are more of the nurturers. So now, if with that mindset, taking it further and having that and building upon that, we carry the myth that, finance is the area which generally the man of the house takes care. So if I try to do something, anything in that, I would make some mistakes. And since I haven't even touched that area, I find it complicated. So this is how the myth, we start carrying in our mind, right? Now, with this myth and mindset, we ourselves have created the challenges of having, lesser financial knowledge, and having a the attitude not so positive towards managing or being participative in family's personal finance activities, and hence that is reflected in our financial behavior as well. Now, how can we avoid this, or how can we overcome this? The overcoming is nowhere we have to look. We have to just look it in our own self. That is the positive side. We women are more patient in nature. Now, that is not a self proclamation or an appreciation of being a woman, but it is what biologically it has been proved, right? We are more patient, we are multitaskers, we are moderate risk takers as well. Now, these attributes are very much required, and these are the attributes required for a very good financial planning, and we have it naturally within us. So, we can definitely, overcome the mindset, the myth, and all the challenges we face. Going further, let's understand, why do we need to think about financial planning, right? Is it because we are earning? Is it because we are an entrepreneur? Or is it I'm a homemaker? Why do we need to do that? Let's understand those aspects. Very first thing is, financial planning, I would say, works like a GPS in our life. It tells us that where we are currently in our life. Now, what life am I talking about? We all have dreams and aspirations, isn't it? We have our goals in our life, which we want to achieve. But we all know that these goals are not achieved, freely. We have to pay certain price for that, isn't it? So for that purpose, if I want to reach, somewhere in my life, if I want to achieve certain goals in my life, if I want to achieve certain dreams in my life, I need to know firstly, where am I today? From where am I today? Where do I need to go? And if I want to reach over there, how do I get there? So financial planning is the process-oriented approach which helps us in giving us the solution to these questions. The other aspect is about why should we, know about financial planning is that, as you can see the data on the screen, that life expectancy of female is higher than man. That means that we are outliving man. That also means that in the sunset years of our life, we not be having any male support with us who would be helping us in taking decisions, in taking in management, as well as in living our life. We would be the sole supporter to ourselves. Now, another very important thing, this applies to irrespective of any gender, and this is, I can say, is the crux of, why financial planning is very important. As you can see in this graph, you can see a blue curve and a red curve. Blue curve is about the human capital, and the red curve is about the financial capital. And this particular graph draws the relationship between the two. Now, as we can see that at the age of 25, when we have graduated, post-graduated, and we are just entering into our career life, our human capital is at certain level, isn't it? Now, as the year passes by, We add on to that human capital in terms of gaining certain additional skills, in terms of gaining experience. And at a certain point in time in our life, that human capital reaches at peak. Now, in finance, we also tell human capital as the present value of all the future income. So, when I start at the age of 25 and consider 60 as my retirement age, I have number of years in front of me, isn't it? But as I grow older, reach up to 35 years of age, that number, the span is decreasing. So naturally, financially, as well as otherwise, the human capital starts the declining process. And at the age of the 60 years, that is around retirement, that is at minimum value. Now, parallelly, as you can see, as we start earning, we are building the financial capital. And at a certain age, again, around retirement, that reaches at the peak. But the peak of the human capital and financial capital, there is a huge difference. Now, let me explain you that difference. The difference is because when we retire, we would be having, considering all the medical advancement and the expected life expectancy, people are now living longer and longer. So it is considered that, at least 25 years to 30 years, we should be considering after our retirement. So that is good 30 years after your age of 60, right? It's a new life, isn't it? Now, in order to live at the same lifestyle which we have been living, we would be requiring a good sufficient amount of income. Now, from where that income is going to be generated, isn't it? When we retire, our regular income stops. Hence, we would be, catering to that requirement from our retirement corpus. Hence, what we have to learn and what we would be learning and what we have to realize is that it all depends on how well we convert the human capital into financial capital, right? And that has to be enough for surviving for next 30 years after retirement in the same way you were surviving before retirement. So let's, go further. But before going further, I would, for women especially, I would like to draw a very important point over here is that during this span from 25 years of age to 60 years of age, our graph would not be that smooth. Because we pass through many different phases in our life, isn't it? We get married, then we relocate to where our husband is, then we undergo childbirth, then we have to take break for the taking the care of our children, right? There might be, additional breaks due to relocation to some other place, due to change in career, either by your husband or by yourself. And finally, you might also need to take the breaks in order to take care of the elderly dependents in your family. So this blue curve, which you see, might not be as smooth as it is seen over here. But what we have to especially additionally put efforts in comparison to other gender is that we have to ensure that our red curve is as smooth as it is displayed over here, isn't it? Let's go further. Now, we talked about the conversion of the human capital to financial capital. So for that, everybody says we need a plan, right? Why do we need a plan? The plan, why part of the plan is that we have to capitalize on time. Now, it is not that rocket science when, women are studied rocket science, women are becoming rocket scientists, then let me tell you, this building up of the financial capital is not rocket science, but it's a simple concept of compounding, which we have studied in our either fifth or sixth grade. Now here also I have displayed that formula, and generally, a small error or a misjudgment what we do over here is we pay too much of attention to the R part of the formula and lesser attention to the T part of the formula, wherein T is in the exponent of the entire formula. So whatever the increase is, you know, is in the multiplication by the number of times, which is in T, right? So that is the reason why Albert Einstein told that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, and it is indeed a wonder. And even though is the simplest concept which we study in our secondary school. And for women, this is even more important as we face number of breaks. Now that was the why part, some of the pointers to why financial planning is important. Now let's understand, okay, समझ में आ गया कि क्या है फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग, क्यों करना चाहिए फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग, लेकिन है क्या फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग? मेरे पास म्यूचुअल फंड एडवाइजर्स आते हैं, मेरे पास इंश्योरेंस एडवाइजर आते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ सेल करके जाते हैं, तो यही है क्या फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग प्रोसेस? Then let me, just give you an introduction what it is. So as you can see over here, I have put over here an umbrella of financial planning. So under financial planning, as you can see, it starts with the personal budget. Then comes the investment planning. Under investment planning, the mota parts I have given over here, that is contingency planning, goal planning, and the retirement planning. Along with investment planning, we also need to do debt planning, because there are certain goals which would be fulfilled by taking certain amount of loan or debt, right? So we have to do debt planning as well. We have to even ensure that we are well managing the risk part of our lives as well as the investments. Hence comes the insurance plan. Along with that, there's a real estate planning, estate and legacy planning. That is when we achieve financial freedom and we are planning to give away our wealth. We are planning to distribute our wealth to whomever we wish to. And finally comes the taxation, which is, we are having like love and hate relationship, but it's very important part of financial planning. Now, many people tell me, yes, I do investment planning. And when, I come across many people, I've talked with many people, for them, what they believe is when they are planning in order to save themselves for tax, right? They consider it as their financial planning. But let me correct you over here. It's a very important part of financial planning, but it is not the financial planning, right? So it is connected, as you can see, with each and every components under the financial plan. But still, it is one part of the financial planning. Further going, as I said, financial planning is a process-oriented approach. The main thing, here is about knowing your risk profile, preparing all the goal sheet, listing down all the goals which you want to achieve in life, because personal finance is more personal than finance. So here what it requires is you need to know what you want to do in your life. What meaning do you want to give to your life? So it is again, a journey into oneself of, what they aspire to be and what they want to be, what they want to give to their loved ones. So all that kind of introspection and study is required. And that would, come out with the result of goal planning. After that, naturally, in order to achieve any goals, we know that without finance, it's highly impossible. I would say is the finance is the fuel to achieve our dreams and aspiration. Hence, we have to analyze, do the cash flow analysis, and based on that, we find out that in order to meet your goals of your life, given your risk tolerance level, right? How much your portfolio should be generating. That is the required rate of return of your portfolio. That has to be written. Now, based on that required rate of return and the risk tolerance, we further decide that in order to achieve again your goals, what kind of the asset allocation you need. And once you derive that, you have to select the investment under each asset classes and your portfolio gets ready. So let's understand. Let's begin with the goal planning. Now, as I told you, finance is the fuel for each and every goal. So I have given a couple of goals over here, starting with the biggest goal of our life, that is retirement corpus. Now, what impacts this goal, right? We have all heard about a term called inflation. Inflation, you know, uh, what impact does the inflation does? Whatever the value of money today is, would always be more than the value of the same amount of money tomorrow, isn't it? So we need to consider that in our, determination about how much do we know would we be requiring for a particular goal after particular number of years. That is what is called as financial goal exercise, and that we do as a financial planner, as a financial advisor, as a financial coach, right? And determine the financial goal value. Now, here, as you can see, for the different goals, you can easily relate the goals with you, but you might not be able to relate the future value, determination of the future value, but it is not that big a deal as well. Going further from the financial goals, let us put it in the timeline of our life. Now, as you can see, currently I'm at the age of, let's say, 35, and I have planned to retire at the age of 60. So I am having 25 years of career life ahead in me. Now, during that 25 years, there are this 4 to 5 goals which I have planned for myself to achieve. And I would like to achieve them, isn't it? Now, for that, I need to invest, make provision for to achieve those goals, as well as, realize those goals. So I need to put in money on one side, as well as the money would be going out, in order to achieve these goals. Hence, along with that, we would be having our normal course of life as well going on, and all the expenses related to that. Of course, we would be having even the regular income during that point in time as well. So this is the time where all the activity happens, be it in your life, be it on the first finances as well, right? But that doesn't mean your life stops at 60. A new life starts after 60, wherein we would be requiring the retirement income as shown over here, and that we need to prepare for that in the retirement corpus at the age of 60. It has to be ready so that we can start our new life after 60. Make sense? I hope it is making sense. Now, let's move on to the next slide. That is risk profiling part. Now, we may have, come out with a very, courageous goals, very ambitional goals, but, being, let's think in context to, the risk capacity that is, Are we capable in terms of earning or in terms of the expenses we are doing and the investable surplus? Would we be able to achieve those goals? So that is highly quantitative in aspect, but there is some qualitative aspect as well, and that is part of our personality. And that is where the behavioral aspect comes, which we call it as behavioral finance. And that is very important for us to know, because that will determine our financial journey as well. Because that will determine that, yes, we are aspiring to have certain goals in our life, but our personality would not make us achieve that particular goal unless and until we bring in some changes in our mindset, we bring some changes in our myths we carry, unless we overcome certain challenges that we think, we perceive them as our challenges, right? So here we connect the the more of the qualitative aspects of our personality, which would be deciding our financial journey. Going further, now let's I hope that was the why and the what part. Now, after understanding the why and what, okay, all the gyan we say, right? All the knowledge we say that पा लिया हमने, अब आगे कैसे होगा, you know? So let's understand that part. Yeah. So here you see some kind of a diagram over here, isn't it? Let me put it in a very simple way. Iteratively, from your current portfolio, whatever you have, your savings bank account or whatever, how much ever or portfolio you are having, portfolio size you are having, with that, the regular investable surplus which you can channelize towards your investment and your life goals. Now here I have put the statement as life goals as future liabilities. Now you might wonder, why are they taken as liabilities? The reason why why not myself only, but the personal finance world takes it as future liabilities, because our life goals are the responsibilities, for ourselves, because those are our dreams, our aspirations, and we have to work hard, work smartly in order to achieve those dreams and aspirations which we have seen for our life. So that is our responsibility, hence that is our liability towards our own self, right? Now, from that comes from your financial goal planning. Now, along with your financial goal planning, as I said, along with your risk profile, along with your income, or whatever the returns from the investment which comes as inflow, considering all that aspect, we find out the required rate of return which your portfolio should be generating for you.